What's going on, everybody? Thanks for being here and hanging out. We got a good amount of stuff to talk about. Last time we streamed was Friday, but now we're officially starting the consistent Tuesday, Thursday streams. And I think we're doing this 2300 UTC 1 hour before the daily close. That is kind of the plan for the weekly streams, or the 2 weekly streams, Tuesday and Thursday. So, I'll tweet out the schedule sometime. If there's a lot of people that doesn't work for, I think we can sprinkle in some streams at different times every now and then, like maybe every other week. I do I don't know what time, whatever works easiest for everybody, but that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. What's up, Eli Almayasanti, Cause the Goat, appreciate you, man. Brendan Smith, Guten Tag. Whale, AJ Lincoln, Whale, what's going on? No problem. What's up, Brandon? Po Lake D, Amar Pal, Medi, and Brennan. It's a good time, the 1 hour before the daily close. I think the daily close streams are kind of clutch because then we can review the previous daily candle, and then also kind of talk about what I'm looking for going into the next daily candle. So I will give people some Trader Cause creams. Give people another minute or two to come in, and then we will get started. What's up, Philip? SM, is that the SM? I think it is. All right, let us get started. I know I didn't give people a ton of time since posting the link, but it's 2300 UTC, so we are going to jump right into it. I think the video looks good, volume should be good as well, so we'll get started. What's up, Matthew? First of all, just want to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of the video. Bottom left corner, we got Bybit right here. If you guys are enjoying the streams, I would really appreciate if you could sign up and make an account, trade on Bybit. I think trading coin margin futures is the way to go in a bull market, because obviously you want to stack more Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever you're trading, and Bybit is a great exchange. So let's talk about what's happened. On Friday, I think Friday was, Tuesday, Monday, Sunday, Saturday. So this was Friday. It was a pretty good candle. It kind of looked like we were going to start bouncing from there, just based on this buyback. But when the next day closed as another red candle, I was kind of expecting it to bleed out a little more. I wanted to see us go for this low, but we didn't quite hit it. We front ran that a little bit, but we had a really nice range here. Right here, really clean interactions at the mid-range, broke down, took out the low, and closed above the range low. So that was a very good possible long, and then we just pretty much pumped straight up from there, and we have barely looked back. So if you didn't catch along here, it's been a little difficult to get on board, just because it's kind of gone up in a straight line, more or less. I mean, pretty much vertical here, and now it's starting to flatten out a bit. But the ideal long scenario that I have would be somewhere around this range high, or this level right here, like 50,400, maybe that wick anywhere in this general region, I think would be a really great long opportunity. I don't know for sure if we're going to get it. You know, we kind of just have to plan for scenarios and see what happens. But we did just take out this high. So if we break down below Monday's high, I would probably look for a short targeting these 3 spots. So I like Monday's mid-range right here. I think we might bounce there if the more obvious levels get front ran, like this range high at 51.2. And then I would probably say this breaker would be another, that's like the perfect long to me. I don't know if we're going to get that, because when Bitcoin starts really trending, it doesn't like to give you the perfect retest. So if this was the bottom, it seems a little too good to be true if it comes all the way back down to 50. I think the more likely scenario, let me clear some of this. Oh. I think the more likely scenario would be bouncing right around here somewhere. You kind of front run this last high before we broke out. You front run the breaker, wherever that was, the 6 hour was somewhere in here. I think that's like the more perfect long opportunity, and that's kind of why I think we're going to miss that one. So we'll see. You kind of have to play it one level at a time. I do think this is starting to get a little overextended. You know, it doesn't look like the healthiest price action, but plenty of times we see Bitcoin do this little grind up and then it breaks up from there. And that's definitely something I'm watching as well. So one scenario that we've got laid out would be a breakdown, lose Monday's high, which is right here. So you guys know I like Monday's range. That's the high and the low, and then I just draw my range with that. If we lose that, I'm looking to long mid 51K, okay? That is kind of one of the main plans. So another thing, we have this. Where's my little, there we go, and that guy. We have all of these untapped highs. Well, I guess we kind of just tagged that one. But more or less, all these levels where stop losses could be from shorts after this original breakdown. Maybe we go like this and someone's like, okay, we're breaking down. I'm going to move my stop loss here. And then they move it down to here and then to here, and just moving their stop loss at each of those lower highs. Or it could be sorry, I was just reading the chat. Which level at 4,800 are you talking about, Brendan? I'll keep an eye on that and as I talk about this. But so throughout this time, people could be moving their stop loss down or enter shorts at different times. And so I think each of these untapped highs have some stop losses resting there. You know, usually, well, maybe not usually, but a lot of the time when we're in a downtrend, we'll consolidate for a little bit, take out those stop losses, and then keep going down. Whereas here, we just made a lower high every single time. And so each of those levels are levels of liquidity. So if we don't break down from here and break below Monday's high, then I think we're due for another spike up, and I wouldn't be surprised if that spike up is to take out some of these highs. It doesn't need to be all of them, but a move into that liquidity I think could definitely be a possible scenario to watch. And if we do that, I would look for something like a big pump going through each of these highs, whatever. And then if we get rejected, then I would think, okay, top is probably in for now, and now we get a retrace back down to mid 51s. What's up, Reno? Arian, thanks, homie. Yeah, if you guys can like the video, that would be awesome. We got like 80 people in here now, 20 likes, so smash the like button if you can. Brennan, that level is my Monday's range. So if I throw the daily open, or well, I guess it was yesterday, I'll just show you. So I'll throw session breaks on here. Today is Tuesday. That means this price action was Monday. And then the lowest point of the price action on Monday to, which is right here at 48.8, give or take, to the highest point of price on Monday was 54.4. And then that is how I get Monday's range. So that's a little indicator that has it, but I usually draw it manually, and that's what these green ranges that I use are for. So I've got my fib retracement, this green one, just so you know, like in the future, the green, gray mid-range, and green range low are always my Monday's range that I use. So I hope that explains it. Thoughts on ETH BTC? We'll look at ETH BTC soon. Thanks for all the time. No problem, man. I hope you guys are saving money or making money from these streams. Even if it only helps out a little bit, it is still worth it to me. So, all right. So yeah, we were talking about these highs all here, and I said if we get a big spike up, take out all those, maybe even tap the quarterly open there, and then reject, you could look for a move back under this level as a short trigger. So, all right, let me clean this up and then draw two possible scenarios. Also, another range that friend of mine, Rect Proof, pointed out to me. He posted it first, so I don't want to take credit for it. He showed me this one. So if we spike through all those highs, take out this top one here, maybe into the quarterly open, and then when we break down back below that high there, I think that could be a good shorting opportunity. So let me mark this up a little bit. Clean some of these up. I guess I don't need that one for now. Don't really need that one for now. And I'll draw kind of the two main scenarios that we're looking for. Spike up here, break down below. That is your trigger for a short. And especially if we go straight up from here for another leg up to like 58, I think that would be a really nice short opportunity, because then essentially we would have gone like straight up for 3 days, and we're not going to go straight up every single day this week. So I think that could be a good opportunity, and then we come down here or something late in the week and then look for longs back up. So that's one scenario that we are looking for. And then the other scenario would be a breakdown from here below Monday's high, and that would be a short trigger to here. So it wouldn't be super crazy far target. Like if this broke down from right now, I would probably take something like this, stop above that high, target here like a 2R, a little bit over 2R trade. This doesn't mean I think we're dropping right now. This just means that if we break back within Monday's range, I will be looking for a move down to the mid 51K. So if you guys want to take a screenshot or whatever, these are two of the main scenarios I'm watching. And then as far as long scenarios go, I'll give you guys a second, take a sip of water, or you can just remember the timestamp in the video and come back to it. I can probably tweet it too, or put it in the Telegram. So, well, just a sec. Okay, so those are, I know it kind of looks like I'm just planning for these short scenarios, but I don't really want to get long unless it's around here. Because if we still just keep grinding up, actually, let me take a screenshot of this really quick. Post it in the Telegram. And you guys can reference back to that. later. And now I can clear some of these. Okay. So we have those two scenarios drawn out. In both of them, this is the target, this mid 51K. I think a pullback just to the Monday's mid-range right here and maybe front run this high would be a very fair conservative pullback, because I think getting something like this all the way back down to 50 would be like a little too good to be true. So those are the two main scenarios I'm watching. I know they both do start with a short and then it ends up with a pullback, and the pullback is where I would look to get long. Just because if this keeps grinding up like this, like it's not really, there's no setup for me in this price action if it keeps going like that. If we can flip this level, which was basically the floor from earlier, I mean, this has been a pretty pivotal level, maybe a little bit higher. If we can flip that, I think we're, well, honestly, we don't even need to flip that whole thing. But if we can break back above this consolidation, I think we have a legit break in structure. I mean, you could argue breaking out of this was the breakout. But if you break back above this, I'm pretty confident that we're going to all-time highs. But I would still at least want to wait for it to range for a little bit and then maybe sweep below something like this. So because this is going vertical, it just doesn't give us a ton of opportunities to get long right now if you're not already. And so that's why both those scenarios that I drew out earlier have to do with a pullback first and then getting long. And it doesn't need to play out exactly like that either. Like if it pulls back to here and then quickly gets back above Monday's high, I think you could long that. It doesn't need to come all the way back down here. I just think it makes sense. Let's see how big of a retracement that would be. About 50%. Like this is what you would say is, I mean, what's his name? ICT calls it optimal trade entry or whatever. Oh, I think that's what it is. But I just think like 0.62, 0.705, that's like an ideal retracement where it's like, yeah, obviously everyone's going to buy that, but you got to think if the market's giving you the perfect pullback, maybe it's not quite as bullish as you originally think it is. So this 0.5, I think pulling back just that far would be pretty textbook. And look how well that level line, I mean, I know these aren't perfectly straight lines, but how well that level lines up with our old range high and also Monday's mid-range right here. So a lot of nice confluences for that 51.6 level. And that's kind of the main thing I'll be watching to enter a long position. Does that make sense, everybody? I'm fine with, like, even though I'm not in a leverage long right now, I'll be perfectly happy if we just keep ripping. Like that's why we hold spot. You're not going to be able to catch every single trade, or you're not going to be able to catch every single move with a leverage trade. A lot of times you kind of just need to sit back, enjoy the ride that your spot holdings are going to give you, and go from there. So let me catch up with the chat really quick and let me know if the Bitcoin plan makes sense. I think that's pretty much all I wanted to discuss with Bitcoin. All right, let me catch up. Okay, cool. Indicator or price action, what's more important? I think every trader should learn how to trade with price action, and then you can use indicators to strengthen your analysis. But when you're first starting trading, I don't think you should strictly use indicators. I mean, you can. I just think it's important to not use indicators as a crutch for your trading. Like if you're relying solely on an indicator, then I think that could be a little detrimental to your development. Chicken Little, what do you think about trading quarterly futures on Bybit for low leverage long-term swings? I think trading futures contracts are great, and when the futures contract is trading at a discount to the spot price, I think it's even better. I think that's backwardation. Maybe it's contango. Sometimes I forget. I get mixed up between those two. But yeah, because over time, if the price of the futures contract and the price of the spot, those are gonna converge. Like the futures contract is gonna go closer and closer towards the spot, or towards the price of the spot contract. Well, not spot contract, just the spot asset itself. And so if the futures contract is trading at like 52K, which right now it wouldn't, but just as an example, and you're bullish on Bitcoin, then you'll want to long the futures contract because there's more upside with it, because you know at the time of expiration it's going to converge at the spot price. So there are definitely times where it's smart to trade the quarterly futures. Sometimes you just need to be a little careful because they have less liquidity. But overall, Bybit's liquidity is really great. Like, I get less slippage when I trade Bitcoin and Ethereum on Bybit than when I would trade it on FTX. So I appreciate that. But with quarterly futures, no matter where you're trading them, there's less volume than the perpetual futures contracts. Smash the like button. I appreciate it, Eric. Neon, hey Kaz, do you sell your BTC long? Yes. I mean, I'm not in a leverage long right now, but I'm still holding all my spot BTC. So, what's up, Gabe? What's up, Manuel? There will be many more. I am streaming twice a week, every week, for the foreseeable future. Yeah, we'll put DOT on the list to look at. Do we think 46K was the bottom? I don't know. So, I mean, I think that's a pretty popular question right now. Like, is this the macro bottom before new all-time highs? I think it could be. But the only thing that makes me a little bit concerned about whether or not it is I thought we would have taken out like a major swing low on a higher time frame. So I kind of thought we would go for either of these lows before reversing. I would feel a little bit more confident if we did, but we don't have to. The low could be in here, but you know how I like to trade. We're taking it level to level, and we go from there. So I hope that answers the question. Yes, we will look at Sol as well. So for the people that are new, I usually look at Bitcoin and Ethereum, ETH BTC, and then afterwards we will look at some other alts. Let me answer this one more question and then we'll get into Ethereum. On Bybit, are you gaining interest by just keeping your spot coins in your wallet, or do you have to do something special? I will post an article about that in my Telegram because Bybit recently did launch a feature where you basically can get interest and still use your collateral as margin, or still use your funds as margin. So on other exchanges, if you lend out your USDT, you can't use it as collateral for when you trade, but Bybit lets you lend out your money, get an interest rate on it, and still use it as collateral. So I will post a little article and write up about that today after the stream in the Telegram. There's a link in the description to join the free Telegram, and I will post in there. All right, let's talk about Ethereum. Let's see which of these charts. So Ethereum held up super well, super well. Let's look at ETH BTC first. So ETH BTC still holding our very important level. We can start from a macro perspective. So this is our monthly SR level, and then these are two of our weekly levels. Back here, we were looking for a lot of longs on Ethereum. After this move, we were pretty confident in the breakout, and then it was just a matter of where that higher low was going to be. We ended up dropping right here to this monthly SR, consolidated there for 5 weeks, and since then we have been exploding. Now we have two major targets on the table, 0.053 and 0.07. This is where I'll be looking to convert some of my spot Ethereum back to Bitcoin, because when it hits that resistance, I expect ETH BTC to pull back, and if ETH BTC is going down, then the value of Ethereum is going down more than the value of Bitcoin, or in comparison. And so at that point, I would rather be holding Bitcoin than Ethereum to preserve my Bitcoin value. So those are the two resistance levels I think you should have marked on your ETH BTC charts. Here was our daily supply that led to this entire sell-off. That was the resistance we had marked to look for a possible rejection. Also, this SR flip was super clean. We talked about that a few weeks ago on the stream when we broke out of here, consolidated there, and just held this level perfectly before pushing up higher. But then this daily level was the most important resistance that we had left on our chart, or for the near term, in between 0.045 and 0.053. This was kind of like the last level I was worried about. And we closed through it on this candle right here, retested it, held this support, and now we're pushing away. So I don't see any reason why ETH BTC won't make a push up to here, which is very bullish for Ethereum. Let's see, 0.07. Basically, it just marks the bottom of this supply. So this weekly supply right here was the last bit of buying. So the last time people bought, up candle before we broke below this low, breaking that structure. So that's why I think that level is significant, if that answers it. What do you think of the bearish divs on the weekly? I don't really use RSI too much. Sometimes I'll pull it up. Oh, clicked it twice. I am not the RSI expert. I would say this is making a lower high there, but the weekly candle hasn't closed. So if this gets above here on this weekly candle, if it pushes up more in the next 5 days, then it wouldn't really have a bearish div. But once again, I'm not a RSI expert. If you want more RSI content, then I would say you could follow CBS, Cold Blooded Schiller, on Twitter. He's the king of RSI. Do I recommend Bybit over FTX/Binance? For the coins that they have, yes. I don't think there's a better place to trade Bitcoin and Ethereum. Specifically, they have really great liquidity, and I started to have some issues with limit orders on FTX, and a lot of other people talk about that on Twitter, how FTX has so many algos and market makers that kind of screws you up with limit orders. And I had so many times where I would have a limit order that just doesn't get filled, because there's just a bunch of weird stuff going on in the order books. So I trade everything that I can on Bybit. I know FTX offers a few more coins to trade. So for certain things like Sol or FTT, I still trade those on FTX, but I don't really have another choice. But for the coins that Bybit has, that is my preferred place to trade. And if you're interested, feel free to DM me any questions, and I can answer whatever you have about Bybit. And you can use that link in the description to sign up if you want to check it out. Do I think that 0.085 level is significant? Let me look. This high right here, yeah, I think pretty much any macro swing high is a significant level. So I would keep that marked just in case we have a sweep of it. But I think this would be the level it needs to crack through first. Okay, let's talk about Ethereum. This weekly chart, I posted this on Twitter earlier, and this is just such an insane weekly chart. We have like 3 huge wicks to the downside in a row, 2 huge wicks to the upside in a row. And yeah, just really crazy PA, but we're still pushing up. So Ethereum is looking really good and bullish, and obviously ETH BTC is really bullish too. I did kind of want more of a pullback on Ethereum. I don't know why this is there. I think, well, actually that kind of was it a 3-day level? 3-day. No. Anyway, I think for catching some longs, it would have been ideal if it pulled back a little more, but just because I've had my eyes on these juicy equal lows, and so I think like a sweep of those and then a reclaim of that level would have been a really clean long opportunity, but didn't quite get that. All good, and we're gonna make use of what it's given us. So let me clear some of these levels, mark some new levels. Let's see. Here we've got some daily SR. Doesn't need to be that thick. And zooming in a little more, we've got this 4-hour level there. And then 4-hour demand right here. So if you look at Bitcoin, they have the same structure up till this point, and then Ethereum broke out of it. So that doesn't really give you a ton of long opportunities when it just grinds up like this. I guess it kind of barely took out that low, but still, I think if it was grinding up and then gave us something like this, it's a lot easier to get long. So when price is acting like this, you need to get a little bit more aggressive with your entries if you want to, like flips of SR, like right now. This level should hold if it's going to push higher. It's not really it's not a trade I would take, and I'll tell you why. Well, it depends. I think if you have your stop loss like here, you could take that trade, but I just think Ethereum could remain perfectly bullish, pulling down here and then going back up. So I think like having a stop at that low or something would be a bit too aggressive. So in general, if Bitcoin is going to nuke, Ethereum is going to do the same thing. So obviously, I mean, that's why I talk about Bitcoin at the beginning of every single one of these episodes. It's because that is kind of the most important thing we need to talk about. But let me hide that again. Where's our weekly open? Way down there. Sheesh. Okay. So that's actually interesting to keep an eye on. We might close this daily candle as a sweep above this level if we can't break above that in the next 25 minutes or so. That obviously, like, I'm not going to take a short just because of that, because this is just showing a ton of strength with these last 3 candles, but it could mean that we're getting a little bit of a pullback soon. And if we lose Monday's high, just like with that Bitcoin scenario we were talking about, lose that level, and I would absolutely love a long around this 2340. I think that is a super clean level. You got Monday's low, you got the weekly open, you've got 4-hour demand, like just a bunch of key technical reasons for why a long there would be really great. If Bitcoin and Ethereum both broke underneath Monday's high, I would prefer to short Bitcoin just because I think Bitcoin has been weaker than Ethereum. So let's say you short both underneath Monday's high, and this one pulls back all the way to here, but Ethereum only pulls back to like here and then pushes back up again. So that's why I would prefer to short Bitcoin than Ethereum if it came down to that. Otherwise, so I guess main thing, this is the absolute dream long scenario if we get it. Other than that, if we pull back and we don't have a chance to go all the way back to this level, maybe it consolidates for a little bit, but you let it do whatever the heck it wants. It can take however much time it needs, but as soon as we break back above Monday's high, I would look for long opportunities. Well, not look for long opportunities. I would long Ethereum on a break back above Monday's high with a stop loss at whatever the low was from the pullback. So I'll draw something out just as a hypothetical. Looks like we're getting a nice little push here though. So if it comes here, breaks down below that, dips to there, and then does something like this, I guess in that scenario, I would put my stop loss below whatever the low is from the pullback before breaking above Monday's high. And then, and then we'd be in something like this. You got your long position here, your stop loss at the low, and I mean, we're in price discovery mode, so I'd probably just target 3,000. It doesn't mean we have to get this, but I think this is more likely than pulling back all the way to here and getting that perfect long entry. So developing plans like this is good to have, knowing levels that you would be comfortable longing on the reclaim of can be really convenient, because this just defines risk for you. You know, like if this pulls back, okay, I'm going to clear this in a second. If this makes sense to everyone, you can take a screenshot, do whatever you like, rewind in the video. But I'm going to clear this and show you guys another example. So if this is your significant level, right, Monday's high, it's a level I like to use a lot. I wouldn't want to long it just like this, because then, like, where's my invalidation? I probably have to put it here, but even if it pulls back further, like, I'm still bullish on it, right? I'm still bullish if it pulls back to here, but I would get stopped out of that trade. And so that's why sometimes I don't like to long a level like this on a minimal pullback, because stop loss placement is very tricky. However, if we pull back deeper and then break up above it, flipping that resistance, I'm comfortable longing here with a stop loss at this low, because now I would assume that the pullback is over. It did its business, it pulled back, it shook out some people, whatever, came down, and now impulsive move away, back above the range high. It's like, okay, the pullback's done, and it's time to go up more. Sometimes that won't work. Sometimes it'll decide to go down like this and then go up. So you could wait to see if it can get back above this level for extra confirmation and then long it here. But that's kind of the idea. So that's why sometimes I look for price to trade through a level, then get back above, like trade through it, maybe range for a little bit, break out of this structure above our level, and then keep trending from there. That's the alpha leak for today's video. All right, I needed another sip of water. Gotta stay hydrated. Does that make sense, everybody? Best broker for intraday If you're scalping Bitcoin or Ethereum, like I've said before, I think Bybit is the best place to do it in terms of trust, liquidity, great order engine. Limit orders actually get filled. So Sebastian, to answer your question, Gabe, ETH's not messing around anymore. Not at all. JMR, Kaz, do you have any book recommendations for trading, chart analysis, anything of value to learn the language you speak? I'm still working on more educational content myself, but I think just watching my streams will help you learn. I think watching Trader SZ, Trader Main, there's a website called tradingriot.com where you can, there's some really good free resources. A good friend of mine runs that site. That's all completely free. These guys stream for free. And then whenever I give people shout outs on Twitter, usually they're worth following and can help you kind of learn trading a little bit more. CJ in the chat, couple messages below you, he'll help you learn how to trade. But yeah, there's a bunch of good resources out there. Crypto Cred also has a bunch of good free resources available, so search him up on YouTube, and that should help you out. That's a really good starting point. Good to see you here, by the way, CJ. We'll have to do a joint stream together sometime. Yeah, if you guys could hit the like, that'd be awesome. Thank you, Gabe. Brandon, I've been trading since almost 4 years now. It was like early mid 2017 when I first got started. Well, that I got serious about it. I was interested in trading equities before that. I studied finance in university, so I kind of have a traditional finance background, but actively like trading crypto and doing TA mid 2017. Would really love to see what you think about Sol. I'm going to look at Sol. Just want to get through some of these questions. Fave live session. Thanks for that map out. Also, what's the rationale behind Monday's high-low significance? Just common pattern. Time for reactions. Heard others mention this as well. I would say Monday's range, just like, what's the best way to explain this? I would say Monday's range has significance because it's the first daily candle of the week. And so how the weekly candle or how the rest of the week interacts with Monday's range is important. Just like, if I go to a daily chart, let me find like a previous Monday. Okay, so we're gonna look at this Monday right here. So this candle right here was a Monday, so you can kind of draw out mentally. You had Monday's high there, Monday's low there. Here you can see we swept Monday's high and pushed down. And so what that tells me is that it tried to break out. It tried to break above the previous day's high, but it couldn't and got rejected. And the same thing goes for the other direction. Like if we broke down, but there were buyers stepping in, pushed it back up, took out the previous day's low, and then buyers stepped in. It basically, I should make a lesson on this so I can actually like write down some notes, some thoughts. But basically, the first day of the week can kind of set the tone. And if you think about the higher time frame picture of these candles, like whenever you have, zoom out, whenever you have a candle like this and you can flip the high of it, like if you can get above this, I know I just combined a line chart and a candle chart, but this would be like a very bullish sign to me, right? If you can get above the high of the previous candle, that signals trend continuation and a bullish week, I would say. And so in this scenario, we were able to get above Monday's high. So if you think about the bigger picture of that, You open a new daily candle, we got above the high of that previous daily candle and then pushed away from it. So that's kind of how I think of it. And I guess the bottom line would be it gives context for the rest of the week, levels to play off of, and liquidity at the highs and lows of daily candles. Like daily candles are important. You could mark out any daily candles range because I think the highs of days and the lows of days are important. But I just think Monday has more significance because it is the first daily candle of the week. Okay, thoughts on Sol. We're going to look at Sol. Was I successful during my first year? Not really. I paper traded for a little while, and then I was a break-even trader for a long time. But yeah, I lost money at the beginning. How do you differentiate between hourly sweep of the highs and continuation higher? That's a very good question. Looks like hourly sweep of the highs on Bake BUSD. I'm not sure what coin that is, but I will look at an example because Bitcoin had, well, not really above that high, but so actually I could find a better example. Sweep of a high versus continuation. I would say, I mean, without a super specific example, if you have a high here and you break above it and you get rejected quickly and you're not able to close a candle back above it, that would signal a sweep and a rejection. However, if you sweep the high, get rejected, and then the next candle you're able to close back above this original level, then that would scream continuation to me. So I would say it relies on the interaction of that original high. If it's unable to break back above it, if it's unable to break back above it, or if it gets back above it easily, I would look for a trend continuation at that point. I hope that helps. Okay. I think people are starting to get a little bit impatient looking for some altcoins. So that's where I'll take this now. Sol's looking pretty good. So as you guys know, if you watch these, I'm super bullish on Sol. We had a sweep of Monday's low earlier today. I didn't take this trade just because it didn't dip into a important level for me. We had this hourly demand right here, but that was already tested from these wicks. So any buyers that were left from here, they stepped in already and pushed the price away. And with this dip here, we didn't take out this low. So could this work as a sweep of the low and push higher? Yeah, absolutely. It might play out, but I'm not willing to bet my money on it. I would rather have more confluence on a trade. To get long Sol, I think either you break above, you can see how this has been resistance for like 3 candles. I think if this gets back above the mid-range, I'd be pretty confident the low is in right there, and then you can compound above Monday's high. If it goes for a deeper pullback, I think that this level would be significant, basically the origin of the pump to all-time highs. And I think there's a really clear way of playing this because, this is a great example of a sweep versus continuation. So you can see we kind of took it out. It was small, but we still wicked above it, closed below, tagged it again, closed below, tagged it one more time, and closed way below. So that just gave you confirmation 3 times that it tried to break that level, couldn't get above it, closed back below, and that would have been a sweep. But if like on this candle right here, this second one that touched it, if this candle closed up here, then that would have invalidated it, and I kind of would have expected more upside. So that's one scenario for SOL, and then the other, just like I was talking about, deeper pullbacks and then flips of levels. This is a super significant level to me because it was the high that we swept, and then it was also really strong support here. And I think we've got some nice stop losses piled up there. If anyone longed this move, I think this was where they would have put their stop loss. Or, I mean, here you have hourly demand that led to the break of this high. So after that broke out, you could have set limits there, long this level, push up. Where's the stop loss go for that trade? It goes right here. So with that being said, if SOL pulls back to here, takes out all these people all the way back to the origin of this move, and then gets back above that SR level, I think that would be a no-brainer long. I don't know if it comes back all the way that far, but that's why we're planning for multiple scenarios. And honestly, it could just do something like this, and I think that would work too. So we've got a continuation trade setup for SOL, and then we have a pullback trade setup for SOL. I hope that this example helps. RR, I think you're the one who asked it. Or no, you asked the Monday's high-low. Hybrid shadow. I hope that explanation on an actual chart helped. Sushi, I know it's kind of late, but I talked about this in a stream. I don't know why I moved that. I talked about this in a stream a few weeks ago. We were looking at, I bet I could find it, but it would just make me more sad because I didn't get a chance to long it. I want to say it was like somewhere around here, probably like 3-4 weeks ago. I was saying these equal lows look ripe for getting hunted, and we have this beautiful 12-hour level right underneath it. So that's kind of played out perfectly. Unfortunately, I missed it, but if only I watched my own streams and paid attention to myself, then I would have been able to catch this sushi long. But oh well. I know SOL's down a little on the day, but because of how much it's ripped, I think it's just cooling off a little bit. And it looks like Monday's low isn't holding right now. SOL's been weird. It feels like it really hasn't had much of a correlation with the market at all. So I think this is a really possible scenario that we get. And then I think confirmation will be getting back in Monday's low. So I think you could enter at both spots. Like if we do a deep wick and then get back above this level, I think you could long with a stop at the low. But more, I would be able to long it with more confidence after it gets back above Monday's low as well. So, what else do we want to look at, guys? Someone said H bar. And also, these last like 15 minutes or whatever of the stream, when we're kind of just like looking at a few charts and hanging out, it's pretty much just like a open Q&A. Like you guys can ask pretty much anything. It doesn't have to be a chart request. It can be a different trading question. It can be whatever. And I'll do my best to answer. But yeah, pretty much just whatchamacallit. Why am I blanking right now? That's what happens when I start reading the chat. Yeah, it can be questions about whatever. Oh yeah, someone asked about DOT earlier. SXP looks good too. I was actually, okay, DOT, SXP, and Rune are three I'll look at right now. So Rune, this is just one of the most bullish coins out there. It feels like it's always going up. This range got a little messy. I don't really know. I'm going to clear all my levels on it. The problem with Rune is there are just no levels whatsoever because it's been in price discovery for so long. But we'll use our Monday's range and a few other things to try and map out some levels. So this was the high. Let me look if there's any. That's fine. Let's get whatever you want to call it, and I think that's going to be a really great opportunity to load up on a bunch of whatever you're trading, alts, Bitcoin, it can be whatever. So Rune, honestly, most of the time the Rune price action has been super clean, but recently it hasn't. And I'll finish my thought in a sec once I draw this. I think the price action here has been super ugly. Like there haven't been many trades to take on Rune for the last couple weeks, at least for how I trade. If the market does pull back a little bit, maybe alts pull back a little harder than Bitcoin, this low and these lows both front ran this daily demand. So if later in the week we do something like this, that would be a textbook no-brainer long for me. And I will leave that on there so that I don't miss this, and hopefully either on Thursday or next Tuesday, hopefully we can revisit this. But sweep of these lows into daily demand, get back in Monday's range, killer setup. Sol, no, I did Sol. Dot. What is this level on Dot? Oh yeah, I think we talked about this last. There's no way. When was that? The 23rd. When did we stream last? Wow. So I don't love these lows at all, to be honest. I wouldn't touch Dot here. I think what I talked about last stream is that in this section, I kind of just want to be patient and wait. I think the smart play would be, and I don't think things come back to revisit the lows, but I'm not super comfortable longing Dot with these triple lows because that's just so much liquidity is piled up right there. So I don't. Like if it pulled back to just here, I'd be a little paranoid that it goes further into those lows. So right now, Dot is in like a don't touch it for me. I know that kind of sucks when it's a chart request and then I say I don't want to touch the coin. But really, I think the smartest thing to do would be wait for it to break out of this range or take out these lows and then start trending again. Sorry guys, my wife texted me. Doesn't she know I'm streaming? Unbelievable. Okay. No worries. The other one I said I was gonna look at. I'll do this one. Oh, Ethereum's getting a nice little move, guys. This pattern, not really a pattern, but when I see a pullback like that, and then the very next candle pretty much retraces that whole down candle, that screams trend continuation to me. So you can see it held this level nicely. SXP, there we go, thanks for reminding me. I was looking at the BTC pair today, and I was just thinking, wow, this is this looks like a solid long. You can see this level, like I don't know how to draw it super specifically, but we chopped around there for a while, resistance here a bunch of times, and then we finally pushed away from it, which was great. And then you can see we had these like 3 drives right there, which is a pattern I look for pretty frequently in crypto. I find that's to be pretty popular. like these 3 sweeps in a row, and then we're pushing away. So I think SXP is a great spot alt to hold right now. As far as targets go, I think this is a super obvious level. People say TA doesn't work. Look at this. So it's the bottom of this down candle that we pushed to all-time highs from, and then also we bounced here, and when we broke down and had a bunch of buyback from this wick, that's the level that capped price that pushed us down again. So SXP, I think holding spot here, I think you're looking at a pretty nice 2x, a 100% gain. So yeah, I think the BTC pair looks great, and I wouldn't be surprised if it made a move for this, was that weekly? Yeah, weekly SR. All right, let me catch up with the chat, but that looks really good to me, guys. How do you deal with the situation of missing the entry, like sushi you mentioned, like how to deal with FOMO in that scenario? You honestly kind of just need to brush it off. Like it sucks because it's pushed up like 27% in 48 hours from where I would have bought it. But it's like there's always going to be more opportunities. So you kind of just need to tell yourself that you're in trading for the long game, and you aren't going to just like go broke because you missed this one move. You know, for all I know, we could get a move back to the range low and then push up from there. So I'll keep it on my radar, but yeah, you kind of have to brush it off and move on. Look at Doge for the culture. All right. My Doge long scenario from previous stream was actually kind of nice. I really wanted us to take out these highs so I could short, and I actually did have a short here, but then I ended up closing it like there or something before this huge nuke, so kind of a bummer. But we had these super clean equal lows that I was expecting us to go swipe. We did that with this huge wick. I think this would have been the long opportunity, the retest of the range low. But this PA, I don't really want to touch that. I think we just had, what a daily close. Litecoin. This was from 2 streams ago. Missed that one too, so that's kind of a bummer. I'm gonna do Litecoin, and then I think that's all I'm gonna have time for. I'm going out to eat with my wife after this, so I think this is gonna be it. Litecoin, this is Monday's range from last week, but this price action, like we talked about with Bitcoin and Ethereum, you just can't really trade it. Like, I think holding spot Litecoin is great. I think there's still a ton of upside to Litecoin. Like, I don't see any reason why this won't go to all-time highs. This actually ended up being a nice little trend line retest around here. But this price action, there's just not much you can do to trade that. So maybe it spikes up from here, maybe it retraces, but you kind of just need to wait and be patient to see what happens. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm sure on Thursday when I stream again, we can have a updated plan for Litecoin, but this is worse than Bitcoin and Ethereum. This is even more choppy, grindy. So just not something I am interested in betting my money on. But all right, guys, we had over 100 people for almost the whole stream. If you guys could push this to 100 likes, that'd be awesome. And then once again, shout out to Bybit. I don't think anyone has actually signed up with the link yet. So if you guys could, I would really appreciate it, and just deposit something on there, just so Bybit knows that that I'm still worth sponsoring, so we can keep doing these streams for you guys completely for free. So that's honestly my goal. I want to put out as much content as I can for you guys for free, and the sponsorship from Bybit pushes it higher up my list of priorities. It makes me a little more motivated to make more content and make sure we're getting these streams out. So 2 streams a week still. Tuesday and Thursday, 2300 UTC is the tentative plan for right now. If you're in my Telegram, I will post that article about lending your USDT on Bybit and still being able to trade with it, because I think that's a really cool feature. But other than that, I think that's pretty much it. Appreciate you, RR. Thanks. It's a man. Smash the like. Her ETH goes to 1400. I hope not. JMR, thank you, Kaz. No problem, man. All right, really appreciate you guys. Strong showing today in the stream, and look for some of those scenarios. We will build on it Thursday, and I will keep updating Twitter and the Telegram for real-time updates. So I will talk to you guys soon. Also, I am planning on bringing a couple guests on the stream, a couple trading buddies of mine, and so I think that'll be a cool thing to make some of the streams just a little different than the normal everyday one. So, all right, guys, enough rambling from me. Enjoy the rest of your day. Let's go make some money.